The first thing Kayla Bennett noticed was the silk, cold, luxurious, almost indecent against her bare skin. Her head throbbed with a pressure that pulsed behind her eyes, and her throat was desert dry, like she'd been shouting or screaming. Somewhere between the ache in her temples and the unfamiliar scent of leather, spice, and sin, it dawned on her she was not in her hotel room. She was definitely not alone. Her heart stuttered slowly, as if she were diffusing a bomb. Taylor opened one eye. Sunlight flooded the sweet and soft gold, kissing the marble floors and casting shadows on the walls that screamed money. Her gaze traveled to the ceiling, vaulted and painted with some kind of Renaissance scene, and then to the enormous bed beneath her, and the woman beside her lying on her side, sheets barely covering the curve of her hip, was a stranger of such overwhelming beauty. Taylor momentarily forgot how to breathe. Long dark hair tousled like a storm had passed through it, skin kissed golden by the sun, a tattoo peeking out from beneath her ribs, claws, maybe fangs, and eyes like liquid amber. Open, watching her. "Good morning, wife," the stranger purred. Taylor's heart slammed so hard she thought she might pass out. "I'm sorry, what?" Her voice cracked. The woman, tall, powerful, and lounging like a goddamn queen, sat up slowly, stretching with a kind of feline grace that could only be learned or inherited. "You don't remember last night," she said. Not a question, a certainty. Typical human liver. "Excuse me?" Taylor croaked, pulling the sheets up to her chest. Her voice climbed an octave. "What do you mean, wife? Who are you?" The woman smiled, amused, predatory. "Reese Sinclair, queen of the West Coast pack. And as of roughly 7 hours ago, your lawfully and magically wedded wife." Taylor blinked, laughed once, choked. "Okay, this is one of those weird Vegas pranks, right? Like an immersive bachelorette experience." She glanced around for a hidden camera, a friend jumping out with a champagne bottle, nothing. Just her, the sexiest woman she'd ever seen, and a room that looked like it belonged in a royal palace. "I didn't even want a bachelorette party," she muttered more to herself. "That was Harper's idea. I was supposed to be on a spa day." Reyes tilted her head. "You did mention that right before you took your 5th shot of silver tequila and challenged a 7 feet Robert to a dance-off." "I'm sorry, Robert." Taylor's voice squeaked. Reese sighed, running a hand through her hair. "Okay, I see this is going to take a minute. Long story short, you and I got drunk. Very drunk. And in the midst of our spirited evening, we performed an ancient ceremony, one that bound us together as true mates." "True what now?" "Mates," repeated. "It's more than marriage. It's a soul bond, rare, unbreakable. And in your case, accidental." Taylor laughed again, high-pitched and panicked. Nope, this is not happening. I'm straight. I have a fiancé. Had a fiancé." She glanced at her hand. A ring glittered there. Definitely not her engagement ring. Bigger, older, etched with something that looked disturbingly like a wolf's head. Her stomach dropped. "You've got to be kidding me." "I never kid about fate," Reese said softly. Her tone had shifted. No longer teasing, deeper serious, almost reverent. "I didn't expect this either, Taylor, but once the bond is sealed, it's done. Irreversible. You're mine and I am yours." Taylor stood up too fast. The world spun, but she managed to grab a robe and stumble across the room. "This is insane. I need to call someone. I need God. I need water." Reese was already at the minibar pouring her a glass. She handed it over and their fingers brushed. He shot up Taylor's arm like lightning. She flinched. Reese didn't. "You feel it, don't you?" the Wolf Queen asked quietly. "That pull. That spark. I feel a hangover," Taylor snapped, but her voice trembled. Because yes, she felt it. Whatever this was, it was real and terrifying. "I'm not staying," she muttered. "I have a life. A wedding. A job. I don't even believe in shifters or soul bonds or magic Vegas marriages." "You don't have to believe it," Reese said, stepping closer. Voice velvet dark. already believes in you. Taylor backed away. Her hands were shaking. You're insane. I'm powerful. Ree corrected. And very dangerous when someone tries to take what's mine. I'm not yours, Taylor hissed. But even as she said it, she wasn't sure. Her body betrayed her. Heart racing, skin flushing, breath catching. We'll see, Ree said. She smiled, slow, certain, like a predator who already knew how the hunt would end. Just then, the heavy doors to the suite burst open. A man in a tailored suit and blood on his collar stepped in, panting. Boss, they know. Reese's eyes darkened to molten gold. Who? The Korvax clan. They heard about the ceremony. They're coming for her. Ree turned to Taylor, expression shifting from smug to lethal in a heartbeat. Change of plans, darling, she said. You're not going anywhere. Taylor had always been a runner. When her parents divorced, she ran to college 3 states away. When her first girlfriend broke her heart, she ran into the arms of the safest, most boring man she could find. And now, as the sun set on the Las Vegas skyline and Ree Sinclair told her an actual wolf clan was coming to kill her because of a magical marriage she didn't even remember consenting to, every instinct screamed, run. I'm leaving, she snapped. Clutching her purse like it was a life raft, hands still trembling as she backed toward the elevator. You can keep the ring and the weird tattoo magic. I just want to go back to my life. My normal human fiancé waiting, Starbucks ordering, law firm assistant life. Reese stood between her and the elevator, arms crossed, muscles flexing beneath. The deep black silk of her shirt. You don't get it. You're not safe out there anymore. That ring marks you. Your scent has changed. Every shifter in a 100 meters radius knows what you are to me. Then unmake me. Taylor shouted, unmark me. And whatever me. I didn't choose this. The moment the words left her mouth, something shifted in Reese's expression. A flash of something dark and ancient in her amber eyes, hurt just for a second. Then it was gone. Neither did I, Reese said quietly. But here we are. The silence that followed was heavy, charged. Taylor didn't understand half of what was happening, but one thing was painfully clear. Ree wasn't letting her go. Not because she wanted to control her. No, it was something else. Something more dangerous. Something emotional. Taylor turned away, fists clenched. I'm not your property. No, Ree said softly, stepping closer. You're my mate. There's a difference. Tell that to the people trying to kill me because of you, she spat. Reese's jaw tightened. Which is why you're not leaving. Taylor opened her mouth to argue, but the air shifted. A sharp breeze slithered under the hotel door. The scent of smoke for blood. Reese's head snapped toward the entrance. They're here. What? Taylor backed away, panic spiking already. How did they? Korvax wolves don't wait. They strike first. Reese's voice dropped an octave. Stay behind me. No, but the door exploded inward. Taylor screamed as 3 figures in black burst through the splinters. Snarling half-shifted, teeth elongated, and eyes glowing with that same supernatural hue. Reese moved faster than anything Taylor had ever seen. One moment she was standing. Still, the next she was a blur of claws and violence. The sound of breaking bones echoed through the room as she took the first attacker down with a single blow, then spun to kick another across the marble floor. The third went for Taylor for a frozen heartbeat. She couldn't move. She saw the glint of fangs, the murderous gleam in the creature's eyes, and then Ree was there intercepting, slamming the wolf into the wall with enough force to crack it. Taylor stumbled back, breath ragged, heart hammering so hard she could. Barely think. Reyes stood over the last attacker, her chest heaving, her face twisted into something wild. Blood spatter her jaw. Her pupils were blown wide. And for the first time, Taylor saw her shift, not fully, just a flash. Claws where fingers should be. A snarl that wasn't human. Eyes lit with moonlight and fury. You don't touch what's mine, Ree scrolled, voice layered with something primal. Taylor's knees gave out. She sank onto the couch, shaking. What the hell was that? An introduction, Reese said, wiping blood from her mouth with the back of her hand. They were just scouts. The real threat comes next. Scouts? Taylor's voice cracked. There's more coming. Ree nodded grimly. They want to use you to get to me, to prove I'm weak. That mating with a human makes me vulnerable. She turned, amber eyes locking onto Taylor's. They're wrong. I don't know how to do this, Taylor whispered. This isn't me. I don't belong in your world. Reese stepped closer, kneeling in front of her, bloodied but somehow still regal. Maybe not, but my world claimed you anyway, and I won't let it swallow you. Taylor looked at her. Really looked. And for a moment, it wasn't a blood-stained wolf. Queen kneeling before her. It was a woman, strong, scared, bound by a fate neither of them asked for. I don't even know you, she said. Then get to know me, Ree replied. Let me protect you. Stay until the moon wanes. Just a few nights. If you still want to go after that, I won't stop you. And what happens if I stay? Taylor asked, voice barely audible. Reese's gaze dropped to her lips. Then I show you what it means to be mine. The air between them crackled. Something ancient stirred beneath Taylor's skin. Something that wasn't fear. She swallowed hard, but didn't look away. Outside, the city glittered. Sirens screamed somewhere in the distance. And in the wreckage of a destroyed hotel suite, a bond pulsed between them like fire under skin. Taylor didn't know if she was still running, but something told her she might not want any more. Taylor didn't sleep. Not really. Not with her body still humming from adrenaline and fear. Not with blood on the walls of a 5-star suite and the scent of something ancient clinging to her skin. Reese had insisted they move immediately. And now they were speeding through the desert in a matte black SUV that felt more like a tank than a vehicle. Ree drove like a soldier, silent, Sharpie, deadly. Taylor sat in the passenger seat, arms crossed tight, trying not to let her gaze drift. But it was impossible. Not when every movement Ree made commanded attention. The way her hands gripped the wheel, the way her jaw clenched when headlights passed too close. The small scar just under her ear, visible now that her hair was pulled back. Taylor shouldn't care. She shouldn't be looking, but she was. She hated that she was. Where are we going? She asked, voice scratchy from disease. Reese didn't look at her. Safe house, deep in the mountains, warded territory. They won't follow us there. And what? We hide forever until I figure out why the Korvax clan is breaking a blood treaty just to get their hands on you. Yes, Taylor exhaled, frustrated. This is insane. Yesterday, I was worried about bridesmaids' dresses. Now I'm in a supernatural witness protection program because I accidentally married a wolf mafia queen. Reyes glanced at her, technically made it a wolf mafia queen. Oh, great. So much better. Silence settled between them again, broken only by the low hum of the engine and the rush of wind past the windows. Taylor hated the quiet. It made her think about the moment Ree had knelt in front of her, covered in blood and still managing to look like something sacred. About the way it had felt when their fingers touched, about the pulse of want that hadn't been fear. What exactly is this mate bond supposed to do? She asked suddenly. Is it like a curse? A psychic leash? Reese's fingers twitched. No, it's not something that controls you. It's souled. Magic that ties souls together. You feel what I feel. I feel what you feel. It grows stronger over time. And once accepted, it's permanent. Love what you've seen so far and want to help me keep creating these awesome stories on this channel? Then subscribe and hit the bell. Your subscription supports the channel and makes sure you get more exciting stories. Accepted, Taylor repeated. So, I can reject it in theory, Ree said quiet, but it would hurt for both of us physically. Emotionally, the bond doesn't understand denial. It interprets it as damage. Taylor stared out the window. So I'm trapped. You're chosen, Ree said softly. Taylor didn't answer, not because she agreed, But because the part of her that should have been screaming for escape was quiet, confused, curious. Hours later, they arrived. The safe house was a fortress carved into the side of a mountain, half hidden by rock and pine. Inside, it was warm and surprisingly beautiful, stone and wood and flickering firelight. It smelled like sage, earth, and something uniquely Reese. Taylor stepped inside hesitantly, glancing at the runes etched into the door frames. Magic again. Protection runes, Reese said. Only members of my pack or those bonded to them can enter. Taylor swallowed. So, I'm really one of you now. Reese's eyes met hers. Yes, something inside Taylor twisted. Not fear, not revulsion. Something warmer, something terrifying. There's a room upstairs for you, Reese said. Already moving away. You'll be safe here. I need to contact my enforcers and check the perimeter. Of course you do, Taylor muttered, watching her disappear down the hallway. Alone in the quiet, Taylor wandered. Every surface told a story. Weapons mounted on the walls, old black and white photos, books written in languages she couldn't recognize. She found a door slightly ajar and peeked inside. It was a bedroom, Reese's. Stark but elegant, and sitting on the edge of the bed was a box, unlabeled, simple. Inside it, a collection of old letters, some burnt, some still sealed, and in the center, a photograph. Ree, much younger, with another woman smiling in love. Taylor stared at it. Something ugly curled in her stomach. She hated that she wanted to know more. Hated that she cared. That's private. Taylor jumped. Reese stood in the doorway, arms crossed, voice unreadable. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's fine. But her tone said otherwise. She was important to you, Taylor said quietly. She was my mate, Ree replied. Before me. Fate changed its mind. Reese's eyes were hard now, guarded. She died, and I never thought I'd bond again. I'm sorry, Taylor said, and she meant it. Even though part of her wanted to rip the photo in half. So how does this work? You loved her. You're bonded to me. Do I just inherit her ghost? Reese stepped closer. Gaze sharp. You're not her and I don't want you to be. This bond is different, wilder. It burns. Taylor's breath hitched. Ray's was close now. Too close. The bond between them fed like alive. Wired, Taylor could feel Reese's heartbeat. Could smell her scent. Smoke. Forest. Danger. I don't want this. Taylor whispered. Then why haven't you run? Reese asked. Taylor didn't answer. Couldn't, because Reese was right. She hadn't run, not really. I'm not ready. Taylor said. I'm not asking you to be, Ree replied. I just need you to stay. Taylor looked up at her into her, and something inside her cracked. Open. Okay, she said. For now. Ray's exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for a century. She reached up slowly, carefully, and brushed a strand of hair from Taylor's cheek. Her fingers lingered. He bloomed beneath Taylor's skin. You have no idea how dangerous that promise is, Ree murmured. Then don't make me regret it, Taylor said. Reese's smile was small but real. And for the first time since waking up with that cursed ring on her finger, Taylor didn't feel lost. She felt chosen, wanted, and deeply, irreversibly marked. The quiet didn't last. Taylor had spent less than a day in the mountain safe house before everything shattered again. One moment she was sitting in the living room by the fire reading. A book she couldn't focus on because Reese's scent still lingered in the room. Smoke, cedar, danger, and something warmer. The next the windows exploded, she didn't scream this time. She dove. The training of pure instinct, maybe survival, maybe something older, took over. She hit the ground behind the couch as glass and would splintered as shadows flooded in through the broken frame. Gunfire, not a movie crackle. The ugly, brutal percussion of real violence. Taylor. Reese's voice tore through the chaos. She was already in motion, out of the hallway, blades flashing in her hands, half-shifted, eyes molten gold. One of the attackers aimed at her, but she moved faster. She always moved faster. He went down screaming. Get behind me. Reese roared, already lunging for the second, but Taylor couldn't move fast enough. A third figure, masked taller, grabbed her from behind, yanking her up by the arm. She twisted, kicked, fought, but he was too strong. "Got the human!" The attacker shouted, "Go now!" The others began retreating, but Reese's snarls stopped them cold. The temperature in the room dropped. Something darker cracked through the air. Reyes didn't hesitate. She shifted right there. No holding back, no half-transformation. Her bones cracked. Skin split or exploded across her body as she rose. Monstrous and majestic and terrible, her full wolf form stood over 8 feet tall. Black as midnight with those same eyes burning through the dark. The man holding Taylor froze. Just for a second, it was enough. Ree pounced. The impact shook the entire room. Claws tore, blood sprayed. Taylor fell to the floor, heart in her throat, watching as Ree tore the man apart like he weighed nothing. The others fled. Reyes turned to chase, but Taylor's voice stopped her. "Don't." It was barely more than a whisper, but Reyes heard it. The wolf stilled slowly. The massive shape began to shrink, bones breaking in reverse, fur dissolving until Ree stood before her again, naked, blood-soaked, breathing hard. "You okay?" she asked, voice gravel and rage. Taylor nodded barely. "You?" She couldn't finish the sentence. "Yeah." Reyes looked down at the body, then back at Taylor. "They're getting bolder." "You shifted," Taylor said fully. "I told you I was." "Dangerous." Taylor stood slowly, legs trembling. "You saved me." Reese's expression softened. Always. The rest of the night passed in chaos. Reinforcements arrived. Reese's enforcers, towering figures with wolfish glints in their eyes and weapons strapped across their backs. They checked the perimeter, secured the house, burned the intruders' bodies. Taylor barely heard any of it. Her ears rang with the memory of Reese's snarl. Her eyes burned from smoke and glass. But she wasn't afraid. That's what shook her the most. She should have been. She should have been screaming, packing her bags, demanding a helicopter out of this nightmare. But she didn't move. She stayed. She watched Ree command her people with quiet authority, with violence still clinging to her skin. And she felt something she didn't have a name for. Not just safety, not just attraction, something deeper. Later, when the others were gone and the house was quiet again, Taylor found Reese sitting on the back steps, overlooking the moonlight trees. Her wounds were healing, too fast for any human. Her body glowed in the silver light. "You should be resting," Taylor said. Reese, in turn, could say the same to you. Taylor sat beside her. "Close. Too close. You didn't have to do that." "You could have let them take me. It would have ended the threat." "Don't say that," Ree said sharply. "Don't ever say that." "Why not?" Taylor asked. "You barely know me. I'm just mine," Ree interrupted. "You're mine, Taylor. You don't get to decide your worth to me." Taylor's throat tightened. "I didn't ask for this bond." "Neither did I," Ree whispered. "But I won't let fate give me something again, just to watch it taken away." Silence stretched between them. Taylor didn't know what she was doing when she reached for Reese's hand. She just did. Their fingers tangled. The heat between them surged. "What if I stayed?" Taylor asked softly. "Not forever. Just longer." Reese turned to her. Her eyes were tired, ancient, but the look she gave Taylor, it was soft. It was real. "Then I'd be the luckiest wolf alive." Their faces were too close now. Taylor could feel the warmth of Reese's breath. Her pulse roared in her ears. She leaned in, hesitated, then pressed her forehead to Reese's. Not a kiss, not yet, but almost. And it was enough to make her entire body ache. Reyes exhaled, a shaky sound. "Taylor, I'm not ready," Taylor whispered. "But I'm not running anymore." "Good," Reese said, voice raw. "Because I'm done chasing." That night, they slept in the same bed. No touches, no promises, just shared breath and silence and a bond that pulsed like fire under their skin. And for the first time since waking up in that cursed suite in Vegas, Taylor didn't feel like she was dreaming. She felt awake, alive, and dangerously close to falling for the wolf who would burn the world to keep her safe. The air changed as soon as they crossed the border. Taylor didn't know how she knew. They were still in the forest, still surrounded by endless trees and the rising heat of a desert moon. But something shifted. The atmosphere grew thicker, heavier, as if charged with invisible static. Rhea didn't say anything at first. She simply kept driving, jaw tight, eyes darker than usual, focused, on edge. Taylor watched her in silence, letting the tension stretch between them like a wire strung too tight. Something was coming. She could feel it in her chest and her skin. They reached the gates an hour before dawn. 2 massive wolves, fully shifted, their first fur with silver and scars, stood guard at the perimeter of what looked like a compound carved directly into the wilderness. Fences weren't visible, but Taylor had no doubt the territory was sealed with more than just iron. Rhea rolled down the window, said something in a language Taylor didn't recognize, and the gates opened without a word. "Welcome to my real world," Rhea muttered as they entered. Taylor stared through the windshield. Buildings rose in the mist, stone structures that looked older than the country itself, low fires burning in braziers, wolves moving between shadows and silence, no howls, no chaos, just watchful eyes. "It's beautiful," Taylor whispered, not knowing why it felt like stepping into a dream she'd had as a child, a dream she'd long forgotten. "It's dangerous," Rhea corrected. "They don't trust easily and you're new human to them. That makes you a liability. What do you think I am?" Taylor asked. Reese looked at her then. "Mine." Taylor's breath hitched. She didn't argue. Couldn't, because her whole body hummed every time Reyes looked at her like that. Like she was fire, and Reese had been cold for years. They parked near the center of the compound. Reyes got out first, pulling on a jacket. All lethal elegance and silent command. Taylor followed, trying not to flinch at the stares that followed her. Wolves, men, and women with eyes that glowed faintly, even in the dim light. Some nodded at Rhea with reverence. Others narrowed their eyes at Taylor like she was a bomb waiting to detonate. "Are they going to attack me?" she whispered. "No," Rhea said. "Not unless you attack first." "Oh, good. That's comforting." Rhea led her into a long building that smelled of smoke, moss, and old blood. The walls were covered in tapestries and carved wood. Waiting inside was a woman with silver hair braided tight against her skull, wearing dark leather and a blade at her hip. Her eyes were cold, powerful. "This is Doria," Rhea said. "My beta." Doria didn't smile. "She smells like lightning." "She smells like mine," Rhea replied. Taylor stiffened. Doria raised an eyebrow. "Then we have a problem." "Why?" Taylor asked, defensive. "Because I don't fit your idea of what a mate should look like." Doria studied her. "Because you don't know what you are." The next few hours were a blur. Rhea tried to get Taylor settled, but whispers followed her everywhere. Eyes tracked her every move. Something about her presence wasn't just unusual. It was wrong, in the pack's eyes, unnatural. Reyes was summoned to a council meeting, leaving Taylor under supervision. Alone in the guest quarters, Taylor felt like she was being watched by ghosts. That night, she couldn't sleep. The pull in her chest toward Rhea was too strong. Her skin tingled. Her heartbeat didn't feel like her own. She went outside. The moon was high, almost full, casting silver shadows through the trees. And Taylor walked without thinking, feet bare, breath shallow, like something was guiding her. The forest opened into a clearing surrounded by standing stones. At the center, a fire, and around it cloaked figures, wolves in human skin waiting. Rhea was there, her eyes widening when she saw Taylor. "You're not supposed to be here." "I couldn't sleep," Taylor said, voice. Then I felt something. The figures murmured. One of them stepped forward. "Doria, It's begun, she said. The blood is waking. What does that mean? Taylor asked. Reese's voice was tight. It means the bond is deepening. Your body is changing, adapting. And the pack, they want a test, a Taylor echoed. What kind of? But then the fire roared. High blue, the air pulsed. And Taylor fell to her knees. Agony lanced through her spine. White hot and blinding. She screamed, felt her heartbeat split. Her vision blurred. And then everything stopped. She opened her eyes. The world looked different, sharper. The stones glowed faintly. The people around her, she could feel them, their emotions, their instincts. She turned to Ree, whose eyes were wide with something between awe and fear. What just happened to me? Taylor whispered. Daria stepped forward. You're not just human, you never were. That's impossible, Taylor said. I would have known. Not if. It was sealed, Daria replied. Not if your magic was buried. But the bond, your connection to Ree, it's waking everything up. So, what am I? Taylor asked. Which wolf? Both. Reese said harassingly. Somehow you're both. Taylor swayed. That's not. It's rare. Forbidden even, Daria said. But not unheard of. You carry old blood. That's why the Korvax want you. They sensed it before any of us. Reese crossed to her. Hands gentle on Taylor's shoulders. Are you okay? Taylor nodded shakily. I think so. Just overwhelmed. You did well, Daria said. She passed the first threshold. But there will be more. More what? Taylor asked. Rituals, changes, tests. The bond isn't finished. Not yet. And what happens if I pass them all? Taylor whispered. Daria's gaze flicked to Ree. Then she won't just be your mate. She'd be your equal. Ree exhaled slowly. Come on, let's get you out of here. Taylor let herself be led back to the quarters. Her body still burned, her skin buzzed with the aftershocks of something powerful, something ancient. Inside the room, Ree hovered, silent, watching. What are you thinking? Taylor asked softly. That I was ready to fight for you, Ree said. But I didn't know I'd have to fight you too. I'm not your enemy, Taylor whispered. Then don't run from what you're becoming, Ree said. Because it's beautiful, Taylor's throat tightened. Her body acted and her heart got. Her heart was doing things she didn't understand. She stepped closer. Reese didn't move. Do you want me? Taylor asked, voice raw. Real. Reese's hands clenched at her sides. More than I've ever wanted anything in my life. Then take me, Taylor said, not just because of the bond, but because you want me. The space between them snapped. And just before. Their lips met, Ree whispered, always. The kiss wasn't gentle. It was a claiming, a collapse. And answered every question neither of them had dared to voice. And in that moment, Taylor wasn't running. She was burning. It wasn't just the kiss. It was everything that came after. The way Ree trembled when Taylor pulled her closer as if she'd been holding herself together for too long. The way their mouths collided, not softly, not carefully, but like fire meeting dry brush. No hesitation, no apologies. They moved like they'd always been meant to find each other in ruin. Taylor didn't remember crossing the room. Didn't remember the moment her hands tangled in Reese's hair. Didn't remember falling onto the bed with sheets that still smelled like cedar and blood, but she remembered the way Reese looked at her. Like Taylor wasn't just a woman. She was the moon itself. Sacred, untouchable, claimed. They didn't sleep that night. Their bodies found rhythm before words ever did. It wasn't perfect. Too much emotion, too many bruises, not yet healed. But it was real. And by the time the sun began to bleed through the forest canopy, Taylor knew something irreversible had happened. This wasn't a spell. This wasn't just instinct. She wanted Ree, not because of the bond, not because of fear, but because Ree made her feel like she was more than what she'd been told. More than an assistant in a dead-end job. More than a fiancé trying to please a man who didn't see her. Ree saw everything and touched her like she was made of storm and silk. But dawn brought reality and blood. Taylor woke to shouting, "Wolves! Panic!" She threw on one of Reese's shirts, oversized, soft, smelling like her, and ran barefoot into the hallway. Outside, enforcers were shouting. 2 were injured. 1 bled from a slash across his chest. Ree was already in the middle of it, barking. Orders, fully dressed, a blade in one hand, rage in her eyes. "What happened?" Taylor asked, pushing past the chaos. Daria stepped into her path. Her eyes were cold, calculating. Someone breached the perimeter, got past the wards. "It wasn't Korvax." "Then who?" "Someone inside," Ree said, turning. "Someone betrayed us." Taylor's stomach dropped. "What did they take?" "Information," Daria said. "Access codes to safe houses." "A vial of your blood." Taylor staggered back. "How did they even get that?" "You bled during the ritual," Ree said tightly. "Someone collected it. Why?" "Because your blood is rare," Daria said. "Old magic. Hybrid blood can be used to break seals, corrupt bonds, or worse." "So now my blood's a weapon?" Taylor asked. Reese stepped closer. "We'll find them, I swear to you." But Taylor wasn't listening. Her heartbeat thundered. Her skin itched. Something was wrong. Off? She felt it like a thread pulled too tight. "Who was on duty last night?" she asked. 3 wolves, all loyal, Daria said, except one never checked back in. Ree froze. "Who?" "Milo," Daria said. Taylor didn't know the name, but the way Reese's jaw clenched made it clear. Betrayal cut deep. "He was my cousin," Ree said. "He grew up in this pack." "Then why betray you?" Taylor asked. Reyes looked at her. "Because some wolves are still afraid of change, of what you represent." "Me? You're not just my mate anymore," Ree said. "You're something more, something the old blood fears." Taylor's pulse quickened. "I didn't ask for this." "I know," Ree whispered. "But we don't always get to choose what we become." That night, the council demanded Taylor participate in a binding ritual. Not to prove her loyalty, but to test her strength. "It's not just about you anymore," Daria said. "You carry power, and power must be tested." "You want to see if I break?" Taylor asked. "We want to see if you survive," Daria replied. The ritual took place in the heart of the pack's oldest temple underground, carved into the mountain itself. Reese tried to protest, tried to fight for her, but Taylor shook her head. "Let me do this," she said. "Not for them, for me." Reyes looked at her like she was already bleeding. "I'll be there," she whispered. "I won't let them touch you." The temple was cold, lit by moonlight that filtered through cracks in the stone. At the center stood an altar made of bones. Taylor stepped forward, barefoot again, heart steady. Daria handed her a blade. "Cut," she said. "Let the blood speak." Taylor sliced her palm without flinching. Her blood dripped onto the stone. The moment it touched the bone, everything changed. The air screamed. Wind howled from nowhere. The bones ignited with blue flame. Taylor's body lifted off the ground, weightless as power surged through her veins. She saw visions, wolves running through snow, witches casting circles of fire, a woman in a red cloak whispering her name. And through it all, Ree, always Ree. When she came back down, her knees hit the stone. Her hands still bled, but she was alive. Changed. Her eyes glowed faintly. Her fingers trembled. Daria stepped forward. "You didn't break." Reyes rushed to her, sighed, catching her before she collapsed. "I'm here," she whispered. "I've got you." Taylor didn't speak. She just clutched Reese's shirt and breathed her in. For hours after, she was quiet, processing. But that night, alone in the room, she finally turned to Ree. "I saw something," she said. "In the ritual?" "What? Myself? But not me." "A different version, stronger, wilder." Reese brushed her fingers across Taylor's cheek. "She's in you. Always has been." Taylor met her gaze. "I think I'm ready to meet her." Reese smiled, slow, fierce. "Then I'll stand beside you when you do." Outside, the wolves howled, not in warning, not in fear, in reverence for something new, something powerful, something coming. And Taylor finally wasn't afraid. There was no hiding from what she'd become. Taylor stood in the center of the clearing, sweat dripping down her spine, her bare feet digging into the earth as the wind howled through the trees around her. Her blood pulsed with magic, not borrowed, not forced, but hers ancient, unfamiliar, and growing stronger every day. Reese stood a few feet away, arms crossed, watching her like a storm on a leash. Again, she said. Taylor gritted her teeth. The target in front of her was a slab of stone carved with protective sigils. Last time she tried this, the spell had fizzled. The time before that, it had exploded, literally. But now her hands burned with energy, and the bond between her and Reese thrummed like wildfire beneath her skin. She reached inside herself, not to control it, but to release it. The magic surged up her spine, flared through her palms, and struck the stone dead center with a blast of blue flame. The sigils cracked. The air rang. "Holy shit," Taylor gasped. "Read and flinch." She stepped closer, eyes molten with pride and something far hungrier. "You're learning control." "Barely," Taylor panted. "I nearly scorched my own eyebrows." "But you didn't," Reese said, her voice lower now. "You aimed, you hit, you focused. That matters." Taylor met her gaze. The bond between them had shifted since the ritual. It no longer just hummed beneath the surface. It burned. Every time Ree came too close, Taylor's breath caught. Every time they touched, it felt like a fuse had been lit. But it wasn't just lust. It was something deeper, scarier, and more real than anything Taylor had ever felt in her life. "What's happening to me?" Taylor asked softer this time. "You're waking up," Ree replied. "Not just your magic, you." That night, the full moon rose high. The pack gathered to celebrate the season's turning, the survival of another cycle. Bonfires burned in the clearing. Wolves shifted freely, danced, howled, sparred. Taylor stood at the edge of it all, watching with wide eyes as centuries of tradition unfolded around her. Reappeared at her side, dressed in deep black, her eyes glowing under the moonlight. "You don't have to stay in the shadows," she said. "You're one of us now. Am I?" "Am I?" Taylor asked. "They still look at me like I might explode." "That's because you might," Ree teased. "But it wouldn't be the worst thing to happen tonight." "You're terrifying," Taylor murmured, smiling despite herself. "And you're irresistible," Ree replied. "Which makes this very dangerous." "Then why are you standing so close?" Taylor challenged. "Because I can't stay away," Ree said simply. And just like that, Taylor stepped forward. Their bodies brushed, the heat between them spiked like kindling catching flame. "Come with me," Ree whispered. Taylor didn't ask where. She followed. Through the woods, up a hidden path lit only by the moon. They reached a secluded cabin, small, silent, and carved into the mountain stone. Reese unlocked the door and stepped inside. Taylor hesitated at the threshold. "This isn't the bond talking," she said. "This is me choosing." Reese turned. Her voice broke on one word. "Good." And then Taylor crossed the line. The cabin door shut behind her and the world narrowed to heat and breath and touch. They collided like they'd been holding back too long because they had fingers tangled in hair, mouths found skin. Clothes were lost in a trail from the door to the bed. And when they finally sank into each other, it was with a desperation that had nothing to do with destiny and everything to do with want. Reese worshipped her like Taylor was fire. And she'd spent her whole life in the cold. And Taylor gave herself over like she was stepping into something sacred. There were no words, just breath, just touch. Just the undeniable truth of their connection written across every kiss, every moan, every whispered name in the dark. Later, tangled in sheets and skin, Taylor lay with her head on Reese's chest, listening to the heartbeat that had once sounded so distant. Now it echoed with hers, perfect rhythm. "What happens now?" she asked. We keep going, Rhys said. We fight. We protect. We love. That easy. Never, Rhys replied. But worth it. A knock shattered. The silence, urgent. Rhys was on her feet in seconds, pulling on pants, already shifting back into the queen. Taylor sat up, heart pounding. A young enforcer stood at the door, out of breath. There's news, he said. The Korvax have moved. They have allied with the Wraithern. Ray's eyes went cold. That can't be possible. They're extinct. Not anymore, the enforcer said. And they have something. Someone. Taylor stepped forward, dread sinking like ice through her spine. Who? Milo, he said. And he's not alone. Taylor's breath stopped. Ray's face darkened like a storm. He sold her out, she whispered, and brought back monsters to do it. Taylor reached for Rhys's hand. Then we stopped them together. And in that moment, the bond between them wasn't just magic. It was armor. And war had officially begun. It started with a dream. Taylor stood in the middle of a battlefield. Moonlight slashing through a sky choked with ash. Around her, the dead howled. Wolves twisted into things that should not exist. Bone and shadow, smoke and rage. And in the center of it all stood a man, eyes silver, grin sharp as broken glass. You smell like her, he said, stepping forward. But you're not her, not yet. She opened her mouth to scream, but fire poured out instead. Blue and burning, the man left, and then the world cracked. Taylor shot up in bed, drenched in sweat. Her pulse thundered in her ears. Next to her, Rhys stirred instantly, reaching for a blade on instinct before realizing where she was. Nightmare? She asked, voice low, still husky from sleep. Taylor nodded, trying to slow her breath. It felt real, too real. What did you see? A man, silver eyes. He knew me or knew someone I'm supposed to become. Rhys's expression darkened. That matches the Wraithern. Their alpha was said to carry silver in his blood, eyes like winter. He was supposed to be dead. He's not, Taylor said. He's coming. Rhys sat up, pulling her closer. Well, I'll be ready. But Taylor wasn't sure she believed that anymore because the longer she stayed in the pack, the more she felt different. Like something inside her was shifting. And it wasn't just magic. It was older, wilder. And sometimes when no one was looking. She saw things no one else could. Echoes in the trees, faces in the fire, the moon whispering secrets only she could hear. Daria noticed first. Your eyes, she said one morning. They glow when you're angry. I thought that was normal now, Taylor replied, half joking. Not that glow, Daria said. Wraithern glow. Their magic was once tied to the shadows, forbidden even among our kind. If their blood lives in you, it doesn't. Rhys snapped, appearing at Taylor's. Sighed, she's not like them. But the silence that followed was thick, heavy with unspoken fear. That night, Taylor slipped away. She needed space. I have some answers. She found herself walking to the stone temple, drawn like a moth to flame. The bones still burned faintly with residual magic. She knelt before the altar and closed her eyes. What am I? She whispered. The answer didn't come in words. It came in pain, a sudden burst of memory that wasn't hers. A woman screaming in a forest, claws tearing flesh. A child with glowing silver eyes, hidden in a basket carried away by a cloaked figure. Taylor stumbled back, gasping. Her hands glowed. Not blue this time, but silver. She didn't tell Rhys, not right away, not when everything felt like it was unraveling. Instead, she buried the fear deep, tried to pretend it was just another fluke. But the next day, she heard the voice again. In the fire, come home, it whispered. You were never meant to be theirs. She didn't sleep that night. Rhys noticed. You're pulling away, she said quietly as they stood in the clearing watching the pack train. I'm not, Taylor lied. I'm just tired. Rhys turned to her, something raw in her eyes. You don't have to hide from me. Then tell me the truth, Taylor said. What do you know about the Wraithern? Rhys hesitated. and that told Taylor everything. I thought they were extinct, Ree finally said. But there were rumors that before the last alpha died, he had a daughter hidden, protected because she wasn't like the others. What was she? Taylor asked, even though she already knew. A hybrid? Ree whispered. Half witch, half wolf, all power. She was supposed to bring balance or destruction. So she's me. I don't know that, Ree said. But her voice shook. Taylor, I don't care what blood you carry. I chose you, not your past. Not your magic. You, but Taylor was already spiraling. If I'm part Wraithern, what does that mean for the bond? Nothing, Ree said fiercely. You're mine. That's all that matters. But Taylor saw it in her eyes. The fear, the doubt, and it hurt more than anything. That night, the attack came. Quick, silent, deadly. Shadows poured through the trees like smoke given shape. Enforcers fell, wards collapsed, and at the center of the chaos stood him. The man from her dream, silver eyes, a grin like frostbite. Found you, he said, stepping over a corpse. Took me long enough. Reese launched herself at him, blade drawn. They clashed in a blur of teeth and steel, but he wasn't after her. His eyes locked onto Taylor. Daughter of fire, he whispered. Come home. Taylor backed away, heart hammering. Her hands glowed, silver. And this time she didn't hide it. She raised them, let the magic surge, and screamed. The forest exploded. Flames roared, shadows screamed, and the Wraithborn Alpha was thrown back into the trees, but not before he smiled. You're waking up, he said. We'll come back for you. Then he vanished. Raze ran to her, shaking. Are you hurt? Taylor shook. Her head, her hands still glowed. I think I know who I am now. Then who are you? Reese whispered. Taylor met her gaze and for the first time didn't hesitate. I'm both. I'm Wraithern and Wolf, fire and blood, and I'm yours. Reese pulled her in, mouth crashing against hers like a vow. But Taylor knew the truth now. Her past wasn't gone. It had just arrived and it wanted her back. The silence after the attack didn't feel like safety. It felt like the eye of a storm. Calm only because everything was holding its breath. Taylor didn't sleep. Couldn't. Her magic pulsed too loudly beneath her skin. Like her blood had started speaking a language only she could understand. The silver glow in her hands no longer shocked her. What scared her now was how right it felt. She stood in the war room of the pack's main stronghold, staring at a map she didn't recognize, but somehow understood. The Wraithern were closing in. They weren't just after revenge. They wanted her. Re-entered the room, moving like the queen she was. All strength and tension, her shirt stained with dried blood from the last ambush. Her eyes found Taylor instantly. You're not supposed to be here alone. I'm not, Taylor said quietly, eyes still on the map. I'm with everyone who bled to keep me alive. Reese exhaled, crossing the space between them. We need to move you somewhere safer. I don't want safe, Taylor snapped. I want truth. And what does that mean? It means I'm going, Taylor said. Into their territory. I'm going to find out where I came from. Reese froze. Absolutely not. You don't get to decide. I'm trying to protect you. From what? Taylor shouted. From who I am. Because if I don't understand that, Ree, I can't control it. And if I can't control it, people die. People already died. Reese roared. And more will if you walk into their trap. Taylor stepped closer, chest heaving. Then come with me. That stopped? Ree, her eyes softened, but the fire didn't leave them. They won't let me walk out if I step in. You know that? Then I'll walk in alone, Taylor said even as her voice trembled. And if they try to keep me, I'll burn their world down. You sound like one of them, Ree whispered. I sound like someone who's done being afraid, Taylor replied. The goodbye wasn't dramatic. Reese didn't kiss her. She just pulled her close hard and fast, like she didn't know if she'd ever get to again. Come back to me, she whispered. I'll come back, Taylor promised. but I can't promise I'll be the same. Taylor crossed the border that night. No guard stopped her. No shadows rose from the trees. It was quiet. Too quiet, but she felt it, the pulse of magic in the air, the recognition in the wind. The land knew her, and it welcomed her home. The Wraithern stronghold wasn't a fortress like Reese's. It was underground, built into the bones of the earth, alive with shadows that flickered like flame. The silvery man waited at the entrance. "Daughter," he said, as if the word had always belonged to her. "I'm not your daughter," Taylor said. "Not yet," he replied, then stepped aside. Inside, everything was wrong. Cold, beautiful, twisted. The others looked at her like she was prophecy incarnate. The lost heir, the weapon they'd waited for. But Taylor wasn't theirs. Not yet. The Alpha, his name was Kale, led her through hallways, carved in stone and blood, speaking of history and war, of witches who betrayed them and wolves who hunted them. They feared the child born of both, he said, because they knew she would be the end of them. "Why now?" Taylor asked. "Why Vegas?" "Why?" "Emmy, because your blood called to us," Kale said. "When you bound yourself to the queen, the seal broke. The hiding spell your mother cast finally unraveled. We felt you awaken." "My mother," Taylor breathed. Kale stopped. His eyes gleamed. "She was one of us. Our last witch. She loved a wolf." "Your father, but the clans found out? They tried to kill her." "She ran. She hid you." "So, what do you want?" Taylor asked. "My power. We want our future," Kale said, "and you are it." That night they held a feast. Taylor sat in silence watching people raise cups in her name, sing old songs she didn't know, call. Heard the fire burn. But it felt wrong, hollow. And when she looked into the fire, she saw Ree bleeding alone. She stood. "I didn't come here to be worripped," she said. "I came for answers, and now I have them." Kale rose. "And what will you do with them, daughter?" Taylor's eyes flashed silver. "Burn the lies and build something better." Then she turned and walked out alone, but not afraid. Outside the stronghold, the night was waiting. So was Ree. She stood at the edge of the trees, armed and furious and shaking. "I told you to wait," Taylor said. "I never said I was good at obedience," Ree replied. "Did they touch you?" "No." "Did they try to keep you?" "They tried to claim me," Taylor said. "But I'm already taken." Ree stepped forward. "Are you?" Taylor smiled. "I'm yours. Always was." Then she kissed her. And this kiss was fire and war and vow. But before it could deepen, a howl ripped through the forest, followed by screams. Reese drew her weapon. "They followed you." Taylor's eyes glowed silver. "No." "They followed him." Kale stepped from the shadows, flanked by two other Wraithern. "We came to offer peace." "You brought an army," Reese snarled. "We brought a choice," Kale said, looking at Taylor. "Stay with them and be hunted, or rise with us and rule." Taylor looked at Ree, her queen, her mate, her home. Then she stepped forward. "One choose me," she said. "And if you come for my family again, I'll burn you to ash." Kale's smile faded. "Then you are no daughter of mine." "No," Taylor said. "I'm the wife of a wolf." Then she raised her hands and fire answered. The first scream tore through the trees just as the moon hit its peak. Taylor felt it before she heard it. Magic shifting in the earth, rising from the soil like smoke. The air went still, sharp with tension, and every wolf in the clearing froze. Ray's was already moving. She didn't hesitate. No commands, no time. She reached for Taylor's hand, their fingers locking with instinct born of battle and bond. "They're here," Ree said, her voice calm and cold, like the crack before thunder. "Then we fight," Taylor answered. Together they ran through the trees into the dark where blood was already soaking into moss and ash. The Wraithern had come in silence. Their weapons glowed silver, enchanted and ancient. They moved like shadows, slipping through magical defenses, as if they'd never been there at all. But the pack was ready, trained, ferocious. And Ree was fury given form. Taylor watched her shift mid-leap, bones breaking, muscles twisting until the black wolf landed on her enemy with teeth bared and claws ripping. Taylor didn't look away. She couldn't. The woman she loved had become something holy in the middle of war. Taylor raised her hands. The fire inside her flared to life. Not blue, not gold, silver and red. The magic she'd spent days trying to control now burst forward like a living thing. She threw a wall of flame that swallowed 3 Wraithorn in a blink. Another raised a blade toward her. She turned his sword to ash before it touched her skin. The battlefield pulsed around her. Screams, growls, explosions of power. Taylor moved through it like she belonged. Because she did. They fought for hours. The sky turned red. The moon bled into clouds. And when the first wave fell, there was no time to rest. Cale stepped onto the field with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. His cloak was soaked in blood and his hands glowed with dark, twisting magic. "You've made your choice," he said, voice booming unnaturally across the forest. "Now live with it." Taylor stepped forward. Ree snarled behind her. "Don't," Ree warned. "He's baiting you." "I know," Taylor said, "but I'm done hiding behind anyone." She walked toward Cale, every step a declaration. "You lost the right to call me daughter the day you spilled innocent blood." "Innocent?" Cale scoffed. "You think these beasts are pure? These wolves would kill you the second your power turns inconvenient. I offered you sovereignty, and I chose love," Taylor said, "which makes me stronger than you'll ever be." Cale's eyes darkened. "Then I'll rip it out of you." He lunged. Taylor raised her hands, but his magic struck first. Shadows like knives, slicing the air. Rays intercepted the blow. She leapt between them, the blast hitting her square in the chest. She fell. "No!" Taylor screamed. Her heart stopped. The bond between them wrenched, snapped tight like a wire about to break. Taylor ran to her. Reese was breathing barely. Blood soaked her side. Her eyes fluttered open. "Don't stop," she whispered. Envious, rage rose. Pure, total. Taylor turned to Cale, hands glowing brighter than ever. Her voice cracked like lightning. "You wanted to see what I am." The ground split beneath her. Fire shot up around her like wings. Every tree bent back. Every Wraithorn stumbled. Cale froze. Taylor walked through the blaze untouched. Her eyes burned silver. Her skin shimmered like magic itself. "I am not your heir," she growled. "I am not." "Your weapon," the wind howled. "I am not afraid." She raised her hands. The fire obeyed. Cale tried to block it, summoning darkness, calling on ancient blood. But Taylor's magic wasn't just inherited. It was chosen. It was love, rage, loyalty. And when it hit him, the forest screamed. The explosion knocked wolves and Wraithorn alike to the ground. Smoke choked the air, magic snapped. And when it cleared, Cale was gone. Ash, nothing more. Silence fell. No one moved. Taylor dropped to her knees beside Ree. "Come back," she whispered. "Please, I need you." Ree's eyes fluttered. "Still here?" She rasped. Taylor laughed through the tears. "Don't you dare die on me." "You already burned down half a forest," Ree said weakly. "What's left to destroy?" Taylor leaned down, pressed her forehead to Reese's. "Anyone who tries to take you from me." Around them, the survivors slowly gathered. The Wraithorn who remained fled or surrendered. The war, at least this battle, was over, but the cost had been high. Dozens were wounded, some dead, and Taylor's magic still thrummed dangerously close to the edge. That night, the pack burned their dead in sacred fire. Taylor stood beside Ree, who leaned on her but refused to sit. "You should rest," Taylor said. "You should rule," Ree replied. "This was your war." "No," Taylor said. "Ours." Ree looked at her, something unreadable in her eyes. "You changed everything." "So did you?" Taylor whispered. "They didn't kiss then." There was too much blood, too much grief. But the bond between them pulled strong. And Taylor knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of what they'd fight to protect. Together, the war ended, but the silence that followed felt louder than any battle cry. Taylor had always thought the aftermath of victory would taste like relief. Instead, it was ash on her tongue. The Wraithorn were gone or scattered, hiding in holes they used to call kingdoms. Caleb burned in her fire, his ashes now part of the soil. And yet the forest still trembled with the memory of what she'd done. The pack walked differently around her now, not afraid, not exactly, but wary, reverent, like she was a living weapon, beautiful and breakable all at once. And maybe they weren't wrong. Rhee hadn't healed completely. The wound Kale left had pierced deeper than skin. Her magic was slower to return, her steps careful, the lines around her eyes sharper than before. But she still stood tall, still ruled, still looked at Taylor like she was the moon itself. But she was hiding something. Taylor knew it the way she knew her own heartbeat. It was in the way Rhys flinched in her sleep, in the way she pulled away when Taylor reached for her hand in the dark, in the way her eyes drifted toward the mountain edge like she was waiting for something, someone to come. "You're avoiding?" Taylor said one night, her voice quiet but firm. They were alone in Rhys's quarters, the scent of smoke and wildflowers lingering between them. Rhee didn't look up. "I'm recovering." "You've recovered from worse," Taylor said. "But you've never been this far away from me." That made Rhee freeze. She set the cloth and her hands aside. "I don't mean to pull back, but you are." Taylor's voice cracked. "And it's killing me." Rhys turned then. Her eyes were tired, haunted. "There's something you don't know. Then tell me." "You'll hate me. Try me." Silence fell like snow, cold and slow, and suffocating. Rhys took a breath. Kale wasn't just after your power. He wasn't just obsessed with claiming you because of your bloodline. He knew you were still alive because of me. Taylor's breath caught. "What?" "I made a deal," Rhys said. "Years ago, before I ever met you, before I even knew you existed." "What kind of deal?" "The kind that keeps secrets buried." Rhys stepped closer, voice shaking. "I knew about the child born of wolf and witch. Everyone in the old circles did, but no one knew where she was. No one except Kale, and I needed him to stay quiet." Taylor's stomach turned. "So, what did you give?" "Him? A truce. Territory. Safe passage through neutral zones." "It cost me a lice." "But I thought if keeping you hidden meant you'd be safe, I'd do anything. You knew I was out there." Taylor asked, voice barely a whisper. "Not you, not your name. But I knew she existed, and I was afraid of what the world would do to her if they ever found her." Taylor took a step back. "You made that deal before we met." Rhys nodded slowly. "I never thought it would circle back to you, but it did." Taylor's voice cracked, and this time she didn't hide the pain. "You made a deal with the devil, too. Protect a myth, and it turned out to be me. And you didn't tell me, not after Vegas, not after the bond, not even after the fire. Because I was afraid you'd leave," Rhys said, voice raw. "Because I was afraid you'd never look at me the same way again, and now I don't know if I can." Those words shattered something between them. Not the bond, not the love, but the illusion of safety that had grown between their hearts. Rhee looked down. "You deserve someone without blood on her hands." "You are blood and fire and war," Taylor whispered. "You are mine and you broke me anyway." She left not because she wanted distance, but because if she stayed, she would scream or kiss her or collapse in her arms and pretend it didn't matter. But it did. For days, Taylor didn't speak to her. She trained harder, pushed herself until her hands bled. The fire inside her became erratic, like it mirrored her heartbreak. The pack noticed. Dory approached her one morning. "You still love her." "Of course I do," Taylor spat. "Then forgive her," Daria said. "Or let her go, but don't let your power become grief. It'll consume you." That night, Taylor stood alone at the edge of the mountain, the same place where Ree always stared into the dark and found her there waiting. "I didn't know you'd come," Ree said. "Neither did I," Taylor replied. "But I remembered something." "What?" "The night we met, you called me wife before you knew my name." Ree smiled painfully. "It felt right, and it still does," Taylor whispered. "But if we're going to make it real, it has to be honest. All of it." Ree stepped forward. "Then I'll tell you everything. Every sin, every secret, and you can decide if you still want me after." "I already know the answer," Taylor said. "I just need to hear the truth. Not because I don't trust you, but because I love you too much to build us on silence." Reese's breath caught. She reached out slow, careful, and this time Taylor didn't flinch. Their hands found each other. Their foreheads touched, and for a moment the fire inside Taylor softened, became warmth again. "Don't ever keep the storm for me again," she whispered. "I'd rather burn with you than be safe alone." Reese kissed her. And it wasn't desperate this time. It was a promise, a beginning, and a vow that whatever came next, they'd walk into it together. They left the mountain 2 days after the reconciliation, not because they wanted to, because they had to. The scouts brought word of strange movements in the southern ruins, old Wraithorn territory that had been silent since Kale's death. Something had awakened, something darker, a new alpha. Taylor asked as they packed for the journey. "Possibly," Ree replied, buckling a dagger to her thigh, "or something worse. Wraithorn have always answered to bloodlines. But when one falls, the magic doesn't vanish. It looks for a new vessel." "So we're not done," Taylor muttered. Ree looked at her. "With them?" "Probably never. With us?" Her voice softened. "We just got started. They rode out before dawn. Just the two of them. No guards. No wolves, no symbols of power, only their bond, still raw and slowly healing." Taylor watched the way Ree moved, confident, calculated, every step a queen's, but also tired. She carried grief like armor, and Taylor hated that she understood it so well. "You haven't let yourself feel it," Taylor said softly as they rode through a quiet valley, the wind stirring the tall grass. "The ones we lost, your people." Reese's jaw clenched. "If I let myself feel it, I'll drown. Maybe drowning is part of healing. Or maybe it's how queens die." "You're not just a queen to me," Taylor whispered. Ree turned her head, the weight of that look sinking deep into Taylor's chest. "You're my fire," she said, "and my consequence." They didn't speak again until nightfall. They camped near an old temple ruin, long overtaken by vines and whispers. Taylor couldn't sleep. The dreams returned, shadows crawling up her arms, voices chanting her name in languages she didn't know. A throne made of bone and blood with no one strong enough to sit on it. She woke in a cold sweat. Ree was already awake, sitting by the fire, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "I heard you," she said. "You called out." "It wasn't me," Taylor whispered. "It was something in me." Reese didn't speak, just opened her arms. Taylor went without hesitation. They held each other in the quiet, their bodies pressed close, the fire between them low but steady. "You think this new leader is after me too?" Taylor asked against Reese's shoulder. "I think anything that carries old magic will always come for you. Even if I don't want it, especially then." The next morning, they reached the edge of the southern ruins. The land felt wrong, heavy. The trees leaned unnaturally inward, and the wind carried voices that didn't belong to this time. Ree took Taylor's hand. "Stay close. This place is older than even my blood remembers." They stepped through the archway of broken stone, and the world changed. The sky dimmed, the air thickened. Taylor's magic reacted instantly, crawling up her spine like a warning. "There's something here," she said. "Something alive or something." "Waiting," Reese murmured. They moved through the ruins together, blades drawn, magic humming in Taylor's veins, but they weren't fast enough. The trap was old magic Wraithorn made. When they stepped into the inner sanctum, The seal activated with a hiss of power and a rush of wind. Ree shoved Taylor back just as the ground collapsed beneath her feet. Ree! Taylor screamed, but it was too late. Rays fell and the chamber swallowed her. Taylor ran hard in her throat, fire in her hands, but the seal had already rebuilt itself. She slammed against the barrier, screaming her name. Ari, but the wall held and Ree was gone. No, 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 no. Taylor dropped to her knees, sobbing, the fire around her sparking wild and uncontained. For a moment, the bond between them pulsed. Faintly, then dimmed, not broken, but distant, buried. Taylor stood slowly, wiped her face, and turned toward the heart of the ruins. She wasn't going back, not without her. In the dark below, Ree opened her eyes to stone walls and ancient whispers. Chains hung from the ceiling. Blood runes pulsed faintly across the floor. And in the center of it all, a throne empty waiting. Welcome back, Queenslayer, said a voice behind her. Recede and saw a woman step from the shadows, dressed in silver. In black, eyes white as snow, hair like a storm. You're not Raythorn, Ree said. No, I'm older than them. The woman smiled. And I've been waiting for her. You won't touch her, Ree growled. I don't need to. She's already listening. Reese lunged, but the shadows caught her middle, wrapped her in chains not made of metal, but of memory. Don't worry, the woman whispered, stepping closer. I don't want to kill you. Just keep you quiet until she comes to me willingly. On the surface, Taylor stood before the ancient doors of the inner sanctum, her hands glowing, her heart shattering. She could feel Ree, faint, afraid, caged. She pressed her palm to the seal. You want me, she whispered. Come, take me. And then she stepped through the fire. The fire didn't burn her. It welcomed her. Taylor stepped through the ancient seal, and the world twisted around her like silk spun from screams. One moment she was in the ruins. The next she stood in a place outside time. Black stone underfoot, a sky with no stars. Magic hung in the air like fog, alive, breathing, watching. Ree, she whispered. The name echoed through the dark. Her bond pulsed, weak, distant, but there. Taylor walked forward. The path unfolded as she moved. Columns of obsidian rising on either side, carved with runes that bled silver light. With every step, whispers clawed at her mind. Memories, illusions, pain. You're not enough. You are never enough. She clenched her fists. I know who I am now. The whispers changed, turned into her own voice. She'll never forgive you. She'll leave like everyone does. She already stayed. Taylor hissed. Even after everything, she pressed on. The air grew colder, the magic sharper. And then, in the heart of the chamber, she saw her Reese on her knees, bound by chains that weren't metal, but light and shadow woven together. Her head hung low, blood on her lips, but alive. Ree, Taylor choked. She ran, but a wall of power slammed between them. Taylor hit it hard, her magic lashing out in reflex. The blast rebounded, throwing her back. From the shadows, the woman appeared. Tall, pale, ageless, with white eyes and a voice like velvet strung with razors. You came, she said. I knew you would. Let her go, Taylor growled. Now you don't even know who I am. Don't need to. I know what you are. I am what the Raythorn feared, the woman said. What the wolves tried to destroy. I was their first queen before packs, before bloodlines. And you are mine. No, Taylor said. I don't belong to anyone. You carry me in your veins, the entity whispered. You woke me when you chose fire. You called me with your grief. And now I offer you what no one else can. And what's that? Freedom. Power. A kingdom of your own. No more running. No more being the wife of a queen. Be the queen. Taylor's heart twisted. Her magic flared. I don't want a throne built on chains. You don't have to chain her. Just leave her. Let her return to her pack. Let her heal while you become everything you were meant to be. Taylor looked at Ree at the bruises, the blood, the strength still pulsing beneath the pain. You're trying to make me choose between her and myself, Taylor said. But I've already made my choice. Then why are you here? The woman hissed. Because I am not whole without her, Taylor said. Because love doesn't make me weaker. It anchors me. The entity stepped back. Her face twisted into something ancient and cruel, then burned for her. The world exploded. Taylor was dragged into a vortex of fire and memory. She saw her past, her childhood, her doubts, every broken version of herself. And at the center of it all, always the woman who kissed her in the aftermath of chaos, who bled for her, lied to protect her, held her when she couldn't hold herself. Wife, Taylor screamed. Her fire surged silver and gold and red. All at once, it tore through the chains, shattered the illusion, burned the false queen into ash. And then the darkness broke. Ray's collapsed into her arms, barely breathing. Taylor, she rasped. You came always, Taylor whispered. Always. The realm cracked around them, the seal collapsing. Taylor wrapped her arms around Ree and summoned everything left in her. Hold on. The fire answered, carried them through the crumbling magic, through the breaking sky until they fell hard onto the forest floor, gasping, tangled in smoke and light and breath. Taylor rolled over, cradling Reese's face. You're here. You're safe. Ray's opened her eyes. You chose me. Every time, Taylor said, even when it hurts, they didn't kiss. Not yet. There was too much shaking, too much rawness. But the look in Reese's eyes held more than a vow. It held forever. Around them, the ruins cracked, the stones falling. Whatever power had been guarding this place, whatever hunger had reached for Taylor was gone, destroyed or driven back. For now, it tried to give me everything, Taylor whispered. Power, glory, freedom, and you told it to _off. Ray's asked. Taylor laughed. I told it I already had everything. You? Ree reached up, pressed her hand over Taylor's heart. This is the strongest thing in the world, she said. Not magic, not bloodlines. This. Then let's use it, Taylor said. Let's end whatever's left of this war. Together. Together. Behind them, the forest burned slow. But ahead, the path was open, and Taylor knew now. She wasn't born to rule alone. She was born to love loud, burn bright, and rewrite every fate that tried to cage her. Starting now, the forest greeted them like it remembered. Smoke still lingered in the trees, but the land was breathing again, slowly stitching itself back together. Taylor and Reamer emerged from the ruins, battered, burned, and different. They didn't speak on the way back to the territory. Their fingers stayed intertwined. That said everything, but the silence that welcomed them wasn't peace. It was waiting. The matriarchs of the allied packs were already assembled when they arrived. Old blood, eyes like knives, power humming in the air. Daria stood at the entrance. To the council hall, arms folded, mouth tight. They know what you did, she said to Taylor. They know what you are. Taylor lifted her chin, then let them say it to my face. Inside the ancient stone chamber echoed with arguments. She carries a threat that has no name. One elder growled. A spark that could turn into another war. Or into balance, argued another. She destroyed what we cannot by awakening what should have stayed buried, said a third. The room quieted when re-entered, and again when Taylor stepped beside her. The two of them standing together was a statement and a threat. Speak, said the head of the council, a woman named Ire, whose presence seemed carved from ice and moonlight. You went into Forbidden's ruins. You awakened something ancient, and then you destroyed it alone. I wasn't alone, Taylor said. She was with me. Ira's eyes narrowed. You unleashed wild magic. Magic that ripples through every territory, every bloodline. You've altered the balance. Then maybe it needed to change. Ray said coldly. We've lived in fear of the old powers for too long. Taylor didn't start that. She ended it? And what about what she still carries? Ira asked. You felt it. The blood. That power doesn't disappear. It roots itself deeper. Taylor stepped forward. Her voice didn't tremble. I didn't ask to be born with this blood. I didn't want any of it. But now that it's mine, I'll use it to protect this world, not burn it. Murmurs stirred. You want to stay? Iore said slowly. You want to rule at the side of a wolf queen. You want peace. Yes, Taylor said. Then prove it. Aya raised a hand and a scroll was placed before Taylor. A binding. You relinquish your claim to any ancient bloodlines, past or future. You swear loyalty to the council. You tie your magic to the land and to us. What does that mean? Taylor asked, already knowing the answer. It means Ira said you lose the right to pass your blood to the next generation. No children, no legacy. The line ends with you. Rhys stiffened. You can ask that, we must, Ira said. Her line nearly ended us once. We will not allow it to rise again unchecked. Silence fell. Taylor looked down at the scroll. Her hands trembled. For the first time in days, no legacy, no family. She hadn't thought of children, of a future that far ahead. But now that it was in front of her, it broke something. You said you wanted peace, Ira said softly. This is the price. Taylor didn't speak. She turned away, walked outside into the wind. Rhys followed. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Rhys caught her hand. We'll fight them. I'll burn every alliance to protect you. And that's exactly why I won't let you, Taylor said. This isn't about power anymore. It's about fear. If I don't take this step, they'll never trust me. They'll never trust us. Then we walk away, Rhys said. We leave. We make our own rules, and the war starts again, Taylor whispered. The world doesn't get better if we turn our backs on it. Rhys's eyes burned. And what about our future? Our future is this. Taylor lifted Rhys's hand to her heart. You, me, alive together, even if the rest has to be left behind. But it's not fair, never is, but it's still ours. Later in the council hall, Taylor signed the scroll. The bond sealed with blood and flame. The room pulsed with approval. The threat was neutralized. The Wraithern line ended. The council satisfied. Rhys didn't speak the rest of the day. She walked beside Taylor, held her close, but her silence was a scream. That night, as the fires died low and the pack slept, Taylor lay awake. Rhys curled against her, hand on her stomach, mouth near her neck. We could have had more, Rhys whispered. We still can, Taylor said, just not the way we imagined. You gave them everything. No, Taylor said softly. I still have you. They didn't make love that night. They held each other like survivors, like soulmates carrying a grief no one else could. See, and Taylor, for the first time, wondered what it meant to win. It was the kind of quiet she never thought she'd have. Not silence born of fear, not the stillness that comes after a scream, but a peace that felt lived in, earned. The kind that hums beneath the surface, like breath shared between two hearts that beat in the same rhythm. Taylor lay on the porch of the cabin they'd rebuilt together, high in the northern woods, far from the politics and matriarchs and the haunted ruins of old wars. Morning light spilled across the trees in gold. Birds called, and from inside the sound of coffee brewing wrapped around her like warmth. Rhys stepped out barefoot, hair messy, wearing nothing but one of Taylor's old shirts. The one that said, "No one gets out of Vegas without regrets." You're staring, Rhys said, handing her the mug. I always stare when you steal my clothes. You have good taste, Rhys said, sipping her own coffee and sitting beside her. One married well. Taylor raised an eyebrow. You married drunk and faded, Rhys added. But I'd do it again sober with flowers and a terrible DJ. You want a wedding redo? No, Rhys said. I just want forever. And if that means a second round with bad champagne and your sister giving another awkward toast, I'll take it. Taylor laughed, then leaned her head against Rhys's shoulder. The bond between them was no longer a firestorm. It pulsed low and steady like coals that never died. Stronger than magic, more sacred than any ritual. Rhys kissed her temple. You okay? Yeah, I think I'm finally okay. You don't miss the chaos. Taylor looked out at the endless green. Not even a little, though. Sometimes I miss the leather, jackets, and the dramatic declarations of war. I still have the jackets, Rhys said, and I'm always up for dramatic declarations. Oh, really? Taylor smirked. Declare something. Returned, her expression serious now. The kind that always made Taylor forget how to breathe. I'd burn the world for you again. Twice. And I'd build a new one from the ash just to see you smile. Taylor swallowed hard. I love you. Say it again. I love you. Louder. Taylor straddled her, cupping her face with both hands. I love you. Rhys. Sinclair, queen of wolves, breaker of my expectations. My wife. Rhys pulled her in. Their kiss was slow, deep, not hurried like the night's. They were running or fighting or trying not to fall apart. This was a kiss made of peace, of claiming, of joy. Rhys's hands slid under the shirt Taylor wore, her palms warm, reverent. Still mine, she whispered against her lips. Always, Taylor said. And you? Every part of me, re-breathed. Even the parts one tried to hide. They made love like they had time. No rush, no storm at their heels, just the creak of wood beneath. Then the sun warming their skin and the soft sounds of pleasure tangled in every breath. After they lay tangled in blankets on the porch floor, the world moving slowly around them. Do you ever think about it? Taylor asked quietly. What we gave up. Rhys didn't answer right away. Then she turned, brushing hair from Taylor's cheek. Sometimes I think about little hands, laughing voices, a child with your eyes, and my temper. Taylor blinked against the sting. Me, too. But then I think we didn't give up everything. We still have each other, and maybe fate has more surprises. Taylor laughed softly. You think fate owes us? I think fate fears us, Rhys said. And maybe it's trying to make amends. Taylor was about to answer when she felt it. A pull low in her stomach. Faint, soft, but real. She sat up, frowning. Ray's noticed immediately. What is it? Taylor closed her eyes, reached inward. I don't know. It's nothing. Just a feeling. But it wasn't nothing. It was warmth. A flicker of something impossibly small and impossibly alive. I'm fine, she said, leaning back into Rhys. Just happy. Rhys smiled against her shoulder. Me too. They stayed like that for hours. No battle to prepare for. No prophecy hanging over. Their heads, just two women who had walked through fire and chosen each other again and again. As the sun dipped low and the stars blinked awake, Rhys pressed her mouth to Taylor's bare shoulder and whispered, No matter what comes, I will always be yours. Taylor closed her eyes, and I will always be mine because of you. Behind her ribs, deep and soft and secret, something bloomed. Something that might have been impossible, but their entire love story had been built on the impossible. And sometimes, when fate gets rewritten by fire and devotion and vows whispered in the dark, even the most final sacrifices find their way home.